is in the air. Winter coats are flying off of our horses, and that means only one thing. Fly season is just around the corner, and now is the time to give your horse a refresher course on fly spray. In this Get Liberated episode, we're going to look at how to help horses become comfortable with fly spray and fly spraying. We're going to add an element to it, and that is liberty. We're going to take the lines off. When I try to approach the shoulder, she's been blocking me. She's thinking about letting me in. No, she says, I'm going to block you. She does not want me to come into this shoulder because she knows I'm going to mess with this fly spray around this shoulder. So, she's at liberty. I can't make her stay here. I can't take her head and put it in the middle and say, don't block me. Let's see what I can do. She's thinking about blocking me, so I'm going to turn my back to her and I'm just going to walk backwards. And I'm not going to look at her shoulder right away. Then I'm going to turn and look at her shoulder. And then I'm going to use the draw. See if I can bring her around. Good girl. So she's shifting her body around, and now she's going to reposition me. Because she really doesn't want me next to her shoulder. She's at liberty. I can't make her stand anywhere. I need to help her stand. I'm going to try this again. Good girl. So now she's thinking, okay, maybe I'll let you stick around there for a minute. Now I'm going to do an approach and retreat with me. I'm going to leave. Then I'm going to come back in again. Good girl. The fact that she is not even trying to block me with her head and neck tells me that she's thinking about tolerating it. So let's try a little approach and retreat with the fly spray. She's looking at it. I'm going to let her look at it. Good girl. Good. In this time period, just in the last 10 seconds, she has shifted her weight to the outside. She just shifted it back. So when she turned around to look at me, she shifted her weight to the outside, which she just did there. It's very subtle, which tells me that although she's not leaving, the thought has occurred to her. Good girl. Good girl. Approach and retreat is to help her get comfortable. The stimulation that she's worried about goes away. Once she's standing quietly, I can begin a little of the habituation or desensitization. And she says, I know that word, habituation. That means you're going to spray me. Come on, you. I'm going to use the draw to say, come with me, come be with me. It's okay. Come on, Aspen. I'm going to bring her in. Good girl. Now she has swung around in such a way that she's trying to block me again. See how her head is turned? She's blocking me. Just going to come in again like this. Now she's backing up. She says, I'm hip to that. I know what you're going to do. Good girl. So I'm going to bring her forward again. In the Equine Liberty Sports program, we teach a very strong come to me. So when she leaves me, I can now bring her back into me. And she will usually come back into me unless she's really afraid. Then she won't come back. Good girl. Now I have returned to this spot. I'm a little further away. Good. I'm going to do a little approach and retreat. Good. Good girl. Now, I'm going to keep drawing her around. Everything in her body is saying, you know, I think I'd like to leave. And I have this cue that says, no, 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 come on back in. Let me bring her around a little bit more. Come on. Come on. She's coming in, but with some reluctance. Good girl. Come on. Good girl. Good. So I'm going to get back into a position over here. We're going to see. She's going to try to block me. See there, she's blocking me. So I'm going to step out. I'm going to step back. So I need to do some approach and retreat with me. I cannot even think about spraying her until she's comfortable with me next to her shoulder. Good girl. This is approach and retreat. Now we'll do habituation. I'm going to stand here and just ask her to relax. With habituation, you just very gently but persistently put on the stimulation until the horse accepts it. This is a neurological activity. I want her nervous system to relax and not respond. Good girl. Now I'll leave. This is approach and retreat. Good girl. All right. Well, she seems relaxed. Let's see if it's true. Good girl. So this is a little better. Approach and retreat. Anytime your horse wants to look at what you're doing, always encourage that, always indulge it. The more information they get, the more quickly they will arrive at the idea that maybe it's okay. Now, what's interesting is that when she puts her head all the way back, she is blocking me again. She doesn't need to put her head all the way around to look at this. That's blocking. Good girl. So she's trying to block me again. Clever girl. Good girl. Good. Now I'm not going to play approach and retreat with my body. I'm going to go right to the fly spray because I'm going to expect a little bit more from her. Okay? She's backing off. She's saying that was a little too much. I'm going to bring her around. I'm turning this back up into a come to me. See if I can change the spirit of her actions from escape to come to me. Good girl. Here we go. Funny girl. Okay? It's an interesting thing when you're playing with horses. Their growth, their understanding, their acceptance of things is not a straight line. It is a zigzag. They will come around, they're feeling okay, and then they retreat. They come around, they're feeling a little better, and then they retreat. When they retreat, this is when most people get very frustrated. It is simply a part of the learning and acceptance process for the horse. So when I see retreat, I know that the process is underway. Not only do I not worry about it, I'm encouraged by it. Good girl. Much better. Good. I'm going to bring her around. Good girl. Good. Good girl. So, I want you to realize that in this moment here, she went from, no, I don't want any part of this, to, well, maybe. That's the process. It's not that I wore her down. It's that we are simply traveling through a very predictable process. Good girl. Good girl. Now I'm not going to overdo it. I'm not going to begin habituation yet. I'm going to do approach and retreat. Good girl. Let's begin a little habituation. Habituation, I'm just going to spray. And I want her body not to respond. And in fact, she's doing okay. And by the way, she's pretty curious about this. Good. Habituation accelerates the physical process of her becoming accustomed to the sensation and not responding to it. It's really not a mental process. Approach and retreat is mental. Habituation is purely physical. Good girl. So, let's try. Oh, you want to look at it? Yeah, what is that? We have a whole fly season coming up, Aspen. We're going to be doing this a lot. Good. So, I'm going to begin approach and retreat over the rest of her body. See how she feels. If at any time she were to leave, I'm going to bring her back to me. Isn't it wonderful that she has no lines on her and she can leave, and she will exercise that right anytime she is not comfortable with what's going on here. Good girl, nice. Working through challenges at Liberty is not a new idea, although it's not practiced very often. Approach and retreat is not new, neither is habituation. What is interesting in what I just showed you is the use of the come to me response, which is developed through the Equine Liberty Sports teaching program. When Aspen was uncomfortable and she wanted to move away from me, distancing herself from what is going on, rather than sending her energy and driving her around on the hopes that she might come back to me and decide that being with me is better, I went straight to the be with me is better part, and I bypassed the whole driving thing. The come to me exercise, which is a response that's built into the horse, encourages Aspen to come back to me when she's thinking about leaving me. The come to me response says to her, it's okay, you can have confidence in what's going on here. You can trust me. As you go along and you work and play with horses and you become aware of new insights and new ideas, I encourage you to play with them. Get liberated.